So here's my phong lighting demo real quick. Basically for this, most of the magic happens in the fragment shader. There's some extra stuff here just because I'm blending in some textures with my lighting. It's not just pure lighting colors, it's like how the lighting affects the texture itself, so these kind of combine down here. And I also have my lighting and textures all being done in the same shader, which is why I have this branch right here. I've seen a lot of stuff online where people do separate, but I'm just keeping it all condensed down to one shader. But basically, just calculate the ambient lighting, the diffuse lighting, and the specular lighting, and then combine them. And if you're doing what I'm doing, you're also going to need to combine it with the texture, just so that comes out nice and you're not getting rid of your texture. Yeah, and then over here, whenever I make a planet in the simulation, I'm just setting the values like this, since they're uniform values. And yeah, let's show it off. As you can see, there's a bit more of a shine. There's also a standard like kind of red hue across them. I just kind of did that to emphasize the difference in this shader and the last one, since I've added specular lighting to complete the phong lighting setup, and also because I have material strengths on here now. So these all use the same material just because that's how I'm doing it right now. But these do now use materials to calculate the correct lighting. And yeah, something else kind of fun. I also have a slightly cooler lighting demo over here, in my opinion. And that is just using sine functions in time to kind of make like a RGB, I guess, lighting scenario. As you see, it doesn't affect the sun, and that's because the sun, if you remember our fragment shader, is a light source. So all of these lighting principles don't apply to it. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool, and that is my phong lighting with materials. Hello and welcome to my ImRadar widget demo. This is just an ImGui, I guess, widget I've written, and we'll be putting up on GitHub. As you can see, we have our little radar here. This is really early. Eventually I want to get a little scan going around. But for now, you can select the color, you can change the position, and it'll end up there. When you do that also, right now I just have it spawn a TIE fighter, which just is a new model and a new mesh from previous exercises. And say I want to put a blue dot on here, I can add more dots. So yeah, additionally, these arrows I created in Blender, and they have their own material slash texture on them. This right here, this like big radar dish, this is also new from the past ones. I got this from a free open source 3D object website and just download it and put it into the project. And so those are both two new model slash meshes from previous exercises. Aside from the arrows have been there, but I did make those myself. So furthermore, just a little bit of the code for the ImRadar widget. Nothing too special, just using a lot of ImDraw and then some shared pointers in order to communicate data back and forth. Also had to add a planes class. This one takes a 3D position, as I'm planning on making it so we can manipulate planes and create them in 3D space using the ImRadar widget. Right now I have it work, but it only I only have it working for the TIE fighter, so I want to be able to expand that a bit. And yeah, that is my ImRadar widget. So I also, in my own game engine, previously you may have seen me loading in those different worlds, and it looks like they have textures on them. And that's because I pass the texture data manually to the shader and just kind of map it one-to-one onto the objects. However, for this assignment, I also decided to kind of explore the Assimp library and writing my own Assimp implementation. That is largely in the form of this model class, which a lot of this is drawn upon from an online tutorial for meshes and models manually with Assimp. Which you can also see here, I have this mesh and model class. And I got it to, after a lot of tinkering, I got it to work. So like if I run this, so what you see here is this plane model, and something you might notice is that the texture looks like it's broken. The texture is not actually broken. However, for this demo, I wanted to use some online models, and every single online model I used was very, very large. So how I currently have the fix for that is I simply have it loading in the model and then scaling it down, but the texture is not also scaling down. So for future, I will be fixing that. But that's my implementation as of now. You can also see it for something else here. So like if I wanted to use one of my other models I have loaded in here, I can load in like this one. And it does all the work of using the MTL file to find all the textures and whatnot, and it'll load it in. So here you see I have Earth, but obviously, like as you can see on the top, what would be like the northern hemisphere, it's flipped and Africa is repeated multiple times. That's just due to the scaling. When this was actual size, it would not render due to my frustum. The clipping planes were too short. So I just rocked out with this for now. This is really all I need though for my current implementation, because everything that I'm going to try to be loading is my own models, because I'm going to be making my own models as I showed earlier with the arrow and whatnot, for moving forward stuff, and it's going to be scaled down a lot. These are just models I got off the internet, and they all seem to be really large, which is why they're all blown up. And there is something I can do with the textures to scale it down, but it's not really worth it, since the models I will be using are going to be not as huge, and I don't have to worry about the scaling as much. So yeah, that's my meshes and models homework assignment. Thanks for listening.